Hello everybody, I'm going to be talking about my FIDM experience in this video today, but to make it more interesting, I decided I'm going to film the whole thing using different Snapchat filters, so let's get it. Okay, so to start off, I studied apparel industry management and I only went up to an associate's degree. Starting off with the application process, it was really easy for me. The project that I had to do was I had to do a really short essay, about basic stuff, like why I want to go there, blah blah. And then I also had to do a project where I created a brand, and then I, set my target market and describe what I'd be selling and all this and that. I wanted to do something that was a little bit different than what I was seeing online. So I did a lot of research on other people's projects for other people's majors, and I noticed that a lot of people were doing scrapbook type of things, but I wanted to do something better than that and go a little bit above and beyond. So what I ended up doing was I downloaded this software called Blurb. And basically you can design your own magazine, and then you send in your design and then they print it out for you. And so I did like a magazine with 20 pages, and for them to print it out, I think it was like $16 for one copy, and then plus the shipping. And so I ended up ordering one for myself and then one to turn in for the application. My essay was really short. It was literally only 2 pages, so it was 1 page front and back. So then I had multiple teachers and advisors go over it to make sure it was good. So when I went there, I was supposed to have a phone interview, but actually I went to FIDM. I flew over to Cali and I went to 3 days of fashion, and then so I just had my interview in person. It was after one day that we have this workshop where you take a t-shirt and then you can make it into anything else. And I decided to make it into a doll. For some reason, everybody else was making it a different shirt, but I ended up making it a doll. So later on after that, I had my interview with the lady who was the head of my major, and it didn't even feel like an interview, honestly. She was just asking me about how my day was. I told her and I showed her the doll that I made, and she was so impressed.
So then after that, she basically was just like, well, you were really impressed by your project. I mean, it looks amazing. The essay is really good. And then, yeah, she was just saying how she was impressed by me. And then she just like told me I was accepted right there and then. So yeah, that's basically my application process. It was super easy. So now we can talk about my actual experience going to that school. My experience with the classes, overall I would say was pretty good.
Overall, I can say that I learned a lot of stuff that I had not known before. A lot of people would say that the classes were too easy or that they weren't learning anything, but in the end, it is all what you make of those classes. Like, it honestly was, like, the classes for my major, it really was actually pretty easy. Like, it was easier than high school for me. And in high school, I was like, I kind of was honestly like a nerd, like always being pushed to get like straight A's and take all of the hard classes and the honors and the AP and all that. But so yeah, like going to FIDM was so easy, but I'm not saying that I didn't learn anything, because I definitely did. So I felt like those people who are saying that, oh, I didn't even show up, and like I wouldn't do the homework, I wouldn't do this or that. Like, oh yeah, I still got an A and I didn't even do all that, blah blah blah. Like, yeah, like honestly, like I don't doubt them. That could be true, because sometimes it really was that easy to pass. But if you're doing that, it's like you're paying for those classes and you're not being accountable of your own learning. Just as long as you go to class, you pay attention, and you try to do what you need to do, like, you will learn something, even if it is easy. With that being said, I felt like there was a lot of teachers that would, like, whenever it was time to take an exam or something, I feel like a lot of teachers would either give you the questions that was going to be on the test, Or if they didn't do that, they would give you the questions and the answers. I felt like it was pretty easy to pass the tests. So another thing in relation to that is you will always get books. And sometimes you'll have teachers that will tell you that you need to like do these readings or not. Honestly, it's a really good idea that if you have a friend who had already taken the class, or you know somebody who has taken that class before you, like maybe like the quarter before you they took that class, just ask them if they actually need to do the readings or not. Because sometimes teachers, they tell you to do the readings and you really do need to do the readings. But other teachers, they'll tell you to do a reading, but you don't even need to do the reading. I know I was just saying like do what you need to do to learn, but in this case for me it's working smarter, not harder. Okay, so now talking about the teachers, some of them were really, really good and they knew what they were talking about and they like to teach, or they just had a lot of experience in what they were teaching in. But some of them honestly were so bad. Not all of them were bad in my major at least, but some of them were pretty bad. Like there was one teacher, I felt like he knew a lot about the industry and what he was talking about, but he just like hated teaching there. The first time that I had him in the class, he was saying how he just hated teaching at FIDM now, and like the kids now are not like good designers or whatever, and that he wanted to quit but he couldn't. So I was thinking he was going to be done, and then I ended up having him again towards the end of my associate's degree, and he just was like, he didn't even teach at all. Like he just assigned us one big project that was due at the end of the quarter, and then like we would just use the class time to all work on it. And then like he was always late, at least 30 minutes. I remember one time he came, there was 15 minutes left of class, and each class is 2 hours and 45 minutes.
And then there was this other teacher that I had, and she just absolutely did not know what the heck she was talking about. So the one project of the class was to make a business plan, and like she wouldn't even really teach how to do the business plan, and she just would like talk about nonsense. And I remember like one class, we just spent the entire class watching videos of one of the guys who was on Shark Tank. And so I was just like, okay, like I get that she wants us to see that it was about business, but that was just unnecessary to spend a whole class on it, you know? So you will experience teachers who are really, really good and know what they're doing, and they teach really well. But then you also experience some teachers, like the worst teachers that you could ever have there, honestly.
Now, some things that I wish that I knew before going there. Oh my god, definitely think about opting out of the books. So every time it's a new quarter, you get a new class. The first day of that class, they send you down to get all of your supplies, and you get them all new books, all new supplies, blah. Like it was nice for convenience sake, but because opting out you save $500 or something like that. Or I'm not sure the exact number. I can honestly say that I barely used the books in most of my classes. Like literally I still had some in saran wrap by the time I was gonna graduate, and then I tried to sell them back to the school and they were buying them for like $5 or less.
And then what you can do is there is a lot of people who sell their used books. There's like a FIDM Facebook page. You could just probably find them used somewhere for really, really cheap. And you just save so much money, because then you wouldn't be having like all these unnecessary new books for every single class, you know?
So the next topic that I want to talk about is student housing. I 100% would not recommend student housing. I absolutely hated student housing. So let me break down how it works. So it was $3,600 for each quarter. So basically like $1,200 a month to share a 2-bedroom apartment with 3 other people, so 4 people total. The student housing, it's not like other colleges where you get an actual dorm place. You are literally living in apartment buildings that anyone, like any other normal person that's not a student, can live at. So that's how that works. So you're paying $1,200 to share a bedroom with someone when, I don't know, like that just seems really expensive, because if you just went out and did that on your own, you could be paying that same amount and then have like your own room or something. So it just seemed so expensive, you know? And then it wasn't fair the way that they had it. So the different apartments that they had people staying at were all different too. So there'd be the Met. It's pretty old, and it was like not clean. And then there's other people who'd literally be living in new apartment buildings that were just built. And then they have different amenities. So like some people have to pay for laundry. But then in some of the other apartment buildings that people stay at, you have a laundry inside the apartment. And then other people, I heard, were getting placed in penthouses and other people not. Everybody's literally paying the same amount though. Some places their parking is more expensive than another place. So, you know, it's just not equal. And then aside from that, the actual people who run the student housing office are just absolute trash when it comes to dealing with people's real problems that they're having. When I had my first set of roommates, I had my three roommates, but the one that I was actually sharing a room with ended up being crazy. She was freaking stealing my stuff. Like, it was like little by little at first, and then she ended up stealing one of my packages, which had like 6 months worth of birth control in it. And then I don't know, she was just acting like really crazy towards my other roommates. And then she ended up like moving out, but then when she moved out, that's when I realized like she like stole my stuff. And so then I went to like tell the office, and they weren't like really trying to help me. They were just saying like, oh, well, you don't need, like, we can't, because I had video surveillance of her taking the package, of the times and everything. Like, it just made sense. It was her. Like, it was most definitely her. And they were just like, because we can't read the actual label on the package, we can't prove that it's her. Like, they basically had like my old roommate like just basically say sorry, and then they were like, oh, well, she said sorry, so that's it. My other friend, and she has PTSD, and she ended up like warning her roommates about it, and like if she has an attack, what to do and what not to do, blah blah blah. And so her roommate didn't end up listening to her, what she instructed them to do when she was having an attack, and he like was freaking out because of it, and just like telling everybody all these lies about her. And then like when she tried to go to them about it, they were basically like saying like it was her fault and that she just needed to stop overreacting. Those are honestly just a couple of crazy roommate stories that I've heard. I've heard a lot, and all of them end up in being that they try to go to the student housing office for help, and then they don't do anything. And then like the Wi-Fi is so bad. Like the Wi-Fi is so bad. I'm not even just being complainy either, because it would be like so hard to like get work done or even FaceTime people, because the internet would always be like cutting in and out. Like it'd be always like not working. And it'd be so funny because me and my roommate would always be like FaceTiming our family or friends or whatever, and then we could both hear each other like, wait, what? Wait, I can't hear you. You're breaking up. Hello? And I'm just like, this freaking Wi-Fi, man, it sucks. So then one time, me and my roommates decided like, okay, we're just gonna freaking pay for our own Wi-Fi, because this Wi-Fi is absolutely terrible. Like, we can't even barely do anything with it. So then the student housing want to get on me about it, like, you can't do that, and they're just making all these efforts to try to get me to come in the office to talk and blah blah blah. Like, okay, so I want to change my Wi-Fi and you guys care, but then all this other crazy stuff is happening and you guys don't give an absolute. I would say like, if you can avoid going to student housing, definitely do so. But I of course couldn't at first, because I was moving from a different state and like I didn't know anybody and I couldn't afford to have my own apartment. But I ended up moving after 2 quarters of being in student housing. Oh, another thing too that I didn't like about it was that I felt like they like often keep moving you around every quarter, because I was in one apartment the first quarter, and then they moved me again the second quarter, and same with my friends. And I feel like for them to keep moving you every 3 months, it's just so annoying, because you have all these things, and then it's like, where am I gonna put them? And their move out date is 3 days before the move in date. So then you have 3 days of just like not knowing where you're gonna put yours. And I thought they'd at least use those 3 days to maybe clean the apartment or something. But when I moved into the Met, it was so dirty. There were so many pigs on the floor. Like, it was as if, like, they hadn't even cleaned it since the last people who were living in there. So I don't know why there is a 3-day gap. So yeah, I just did not like student housing at all. But I know it's like a struggle to have your own place out there. So, you know, like I said, if you can avoid it, do so. But if you can't, then no. Alright guys, so that is the end of my review for FIDM, my experience, the application process, all that. If you have any other questions about the school, just go ahead and leave that in the comments below. And if you have any other video requests, let me know. But I am about to get off now. It is like 1 in the morning and I'm tired now. So peace out till next time.